did you head actually to 38th Street?
Yeah. We were out there this weekend.
Tell me why you
For
decided. I mean, you could have been anywhere. You could have decided to go anywhere. Why 38th Street, the place where George Floyd really, I mean, quite possibly drew his very last breath?
for many reasons. I mean, I'm a part of the community, and when I say community, an organization of liberators, abolitionists, frontliners in a real way. And this is to me, but and I even one of the reasons why I've been reluctant to do interviews is because it's not about me. It's
Mhm.
about being a part of a movement that has been going on for years. I mean, from Mike Mike Brown, Freddie Gray, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland. We've been on these front lines, walking, marching, protesting, and quite frankly, we're tired of it. But we get there in the communities and we we pray with the people, we walk with the people, we break bread with the people, we use our resources, whether financially or however, to actually say what can we do because we're here. And that organization is expanding in such a way. It's global because one, everybody is paying attention now. But this is, I mean, you guys know my record. This nothing new. You know what I mean? I'm inside prison systems weekly. I'm on the front lines in communities, feeding homeless, the less fortunate. And when civil unrest occurs, we right there with it. So this one is no different from the many others that we spend our time at. It just so happens that the media has chosen to pay attention to this one.
What do you think the difference is this time? I was having this conversation with my mom last night, and I was telling her why it feels different for me, or why it feels like there's a pylon that has not happened before. What do you think the difference is? Why people are paying attention, or why it is getting so much attention?
Yeah, to be honest, my brother, I don't see a difference. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I'm just as hurt and pissed off uh, about George Floyd as I am about Mike Brown, uh, about Sandra Bland, about so many, man. I for Lando Castile, for so many. I mean, I don't want to continue to just the laundry list of names. To even in the same week as George Floyd, there was four other police killings. And we choose not to say that one now. Obviously this one was recorded on camera, and I think to see a white man kneeling on the neck of a black man as he takes his last breath, and he has his, the white man, it has his hands in his pocket, so cavalier, uh in in a crisis that we have now normalized trauma. You know what I mean? We see public lynchings daily on cycle on a feed. Is something we can't normalize, man, and it hurts my heart. And I cry at night, man. It's hard to even wake up every day knowing that, yo, we got to get back into this fight, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it. Like I said, I'm ready to put my life on the line for this, because there's nothing more important to my community, nothing more important to my family, nothing more important than me than to evoke change in a real way.
You talk about putting your life on the line, and I think about the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Facts.
You know what I mean? That there are people who are living with autoimmune health issues,
I'll
and,
be one of those people.
and out doing what they feel is going to bring the most attention, in the hopes that the attention will bring the change that is necessary. When was it a no-brainer for you? I mean, because I would think that there are some people who are thinking. I mean, every protest that I saw, that I was a part of, everybody had on a mask.
Yeah.
But there, it is still the reminder that we're in a pandemic. There are still significant health concerns globally, but that this somehow is also just as important.
Yeah, I think I'm different because I've been in a health pandemic since 2012. You know what I mean? I've almost lost my life to health concerns many times. So I've kind of always been a little bit more careful when it comes to my immune system than most. But in a matter like um, this is so much more. I don't want to say because I want to use my words correctly, but
I got you.
it's so much more demanding of our energy. It's pretty easy to follow rules and to the rules of the quarantine, and it's frustrated because people are losing jobs. It's frustrated because people are not being able to spend time with loved ones. But when you got to step out there and protest and speak and stand for your people in the same way that our ancestors did, it's it's being on that front line is a little bit more demanding. So it takes one spirit to say, all right, well, what is more important, my own health concerns or the concerns of humanity? And that's where I feel like that's why I commend the people who are peacefully protesting and putting their lives on the line, because we are in a pandemic and we have been following the rules and following suit, for so many months. But then when you see something like this occur, when you see murder in front of your eyes, the fact that humans are coming together all across the world and saying, we'll put our lives on the line to stand firm for humanity, I
Yeah.
salute that.
Yeah, I think that's to me, that's what I was trying to articulate to my mom last night, or that's what part of the conversation that was that we were having last night. And the difference that I see is that for many of these instances, unfortunately, we went, Black people went directly to police, Black people went directly to our elected officials. And this time I feel like we looked to our neighbors, we looked to
Mm,
teachers, we looked to our bosses, our people at the grocery store, and said, if you don't see this,
right,
you don't see me.
right. Man,
And
and yeah, and we're all in it together in a
yeah,
major way, because it's an institution that was created uh, through racism. I mean, the idea of overseeing people, a system that was built on the enslavement of people. And Malcolm X said it the best. The the only language that America understands and has been fluent in since its inception is violence. And so, yeah, we're upset about the buildings burning. We're upset about the looting. We're upset, but we're more upset about the lives that have been lost. We're more upset about how the infrastructure of law enforcement has been a racist system that needs to be reformed. I'm an abolitionist in itself. I say we got to get rid of law enforcement altogether and start over. Get rid of the word policing. I don't want to hear the word police anymore. How about we call them peace officers? How about we put together some psychological evaluations of the people that we put in charge of protecting and serving us? It needs to be much more than just a high school degree and an urge to have a badge and a gun that can make you a police officer. Let's talk about let's empower these individuals who want to be law enforcement with the right surroundings, with clarity, with spiritual advisors, with people that they can rely on daily, that can hold them accountable when they are in these streets protecting and serving.
now it's interesting to me because I think some people might try to um, uh, uh, dismiss some of your comments because you may be seen as another celebrity, right? With
Yeah.
with a radio show, but you've
Celebrity
actually,
is a bad word to me.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
you do realize you are one of the most famous people out here. You know what I'm saying?
Only reason
Like,
why I say that, I hear you. The only reason why I say that because the word celebrity stems from celebrating, and I don't feel like I need to be celebrated, and we need to be careful who we celebrate. I got too much work to do to be celebrated at this moment.
but
Um,
the reason I brought it up is because you are doing the work. You're not just talking about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You went back to school. You went
yeah.
back to Howard and
To
studied
get
it.
a degree in criminology to deal with what we're dealing with right now. And the only reason why I did that because I feel it's my civil duty. I do understand that I have influence and I have a brighter light that I can shine on things that truly matter. So, um, man, it's my duty, it's my passion. It's I believe too much is given, much is required. So I mean, I'm not for the celebrity, and you know, it's funny. People are like, oh, you just out here clout chasing a moment. I will say, yeah, I am clout chasing a moment. I am chasing the clout for my people, uh, that they have been robbed of for centuries. If there's a certain type of clout that needs to be chased, it is the clout of the African American community, and it's the clout of equality, and more than equality, it's equity. It's that sense of like, we just want our just due. We want our respect, and we want to be treated like human beings.
Yeah. Tell me, it has been unfortunately eye-opening to a lot of my friends who are not Black and who have
Yeah,
children to
yeah,
reach a understanding of the kinds of conversations that I have had with my parents
yeah.
because I am Black. The fact
Yeah,
that
right.
you've had the talk isn't the sex talk when you're
Yeah,
talking.
the stay alive talk.
Exactly what to do when you encounter law enforcement. You have two 9-year-olds and
Yeah,
a toddler.
yeah.
Have you had that conversation?
Yeah, it's interesting, man, and I say this in all sincerity, and I even got some pushback for this, which, you know, I don't care what people think about me or what, what they say about me. But when I made a statement that, you know, my children fear police,
Mm.
and it's a real statement. I didn't say you should be. I try to teach fearlessness. I try to teach, yo, you have a power within you that you need to fear nothing. But when they see the energy of law enforcement, when here comes the police, or that mindset of sit up straight and don't talk, keep your hands where they can see. When these are things that I'm talking to a 3-year-old about, or 9-year-olds about, and they bring those questions to me. Uh, I remember, you know, growing up, there was an idea where one wanted to be a police officer, or, you know, like, oh man, I want to help and protect and serve people. But now that I don't understand why this generation, well, I actually do understand, but it has definitely changed to where they perpetuate fear, man, and it's something that is hurtful to have those conversations with your children, but you want to protect them at the end of the day.
It's got to be, though, as a parent, it's got to be hard, even if it's expected, because you are a Black father, right? It's got to be hard to look at your kids and know that you have to have these kinds of conversations while there are other portions of the population that have no idea that conversation even exists.
Yeah, man. And again, it's part of our culture. I think this, you know,
Right.
my parents had the conversation with me. You know, I mean, I always tell people I've never called the police in my life, because our family was afraid to call the police. You know, and that was from a child growing up, seeing like, the police showed up. It wasn't about safety. It was like, somebody's in trouble.
It's in
You know,
trouble.
someone's gonna go to jail because the police were called. When we see the police in our neighborhood, it's never been a good experience. And that's where I say we gotta rethink and reconstruct what law enforcement is, specifically in our communities. Law enforcement, it should be, you know, from the community. There was
Yeah.
a time when we were able to to police our own and have sovereignty. And that's a lot of times, I use that word quite often, but it truly means to be self-governed. And when we have the ability to self-govern and have a strong moral compass that comes for your community, you shouldn't have to have someone overseeing you. You shouldn't have someone enforcing curfews on you. You shouldn't have someone patrolling. When you think about the word patrol, it comes from slave patrols. It comes from the time where the slave codes, where if your slave got out of line or was a runaway, then therefore there was a squadron of patrollers who would come and put them in line. So again, it started from a mentality of enslavement. So if we don't fix it now, we'll just continue to perpetuate that racist infrastructure.
What do you think of, and I think I asked this question as trying to just be responsible, not because
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
Go ahead.
Uh, but what do you think of the criticisms of the Black Lives Matter movement? What do you think of the criticisms of the people
Man,
who are out protesting?
yeah, it's a distraction, to be honest. I don't care what people think about me. I never have. I never care about what people think about my movements. I'm not. I'm just happy the conversation is happening, my brother. To be honest, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to find solutions for my community, because we've been trying to convince people for quite some time. You know, it says you can never talk people out of their illusions,
Hmm.
and you know you're kind of wasting your time when you're trying to. We've been screaming for so long, Black Lives Matter, uh please don't shoot, please I can't breathe, um and it hasn't stopped anything. It's unfortunate, man. We're fighting for George Floyd and the way he was brutally murdered, and I watched these civil unrest and these protests, and I watched officers use the exact same methods of reprimanding and punishing citizens by putting their knees on their necks and holding them down, and people screaming, I can't breathe. Like, to me, it's like, yo, how don't you understand that what we have an issue with is the way that you police us, is the way that you come into our communities and bully us. And we have all these anti-bullying campaigns and stop bullying, but we are bullied daily by our law enforcement and our government.
Hmm. Um, I think it's an important conversation, and it's the part of the
Always. And I
that
appreciate you having this. And you know, I'm pretty sure, I mean, we all in media, we know how it goes down. They're gonna cut up a lot of this and use
of
the
course, but I'm also gonna be urging that a larger portion of it is online, something that we can share, something that we can.
Yeah, indeed. But let's
Um,
not stop having the conversation. Let's create that rhetoric, that propaganda that our media is built on. Let's say the same things over and over. Let's get rid of police and bring in peace. Like, let's give them the catchphrases and the slogans that stays on their heart and on their minds. So even if they don't understand it in this moment, eventually they're gonna see change one way or another.
there it is, one way or another. Um, tell
Yeah,
me, tell me. I don't want to sound. I want to take a second because I think it's important, but I
yeah,
don't want this to sound anything other than what I'm saying.
right.
I just wanted to say congratulations to you. I've heard that you graduated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Howard University, class of 2020. I just got my degree in criminology, and now I'm working on my master's in psychology. So,
Why?
and from
Why
there,
criminology?
look where we are. I didn't want to be another celebrity that was just, tweeting and reposting. Shots out to all of them, because we need you and we need your voices. But I felt like it was my duty to educate myself on the system. I can't complain about a system that I don't understand.
Don't
So
understand.
therefore, I know the law. I'm studying the law, and I'm putting my resources, my money, my energy towards changing the law, because criminology, which I have a degree in, I've learned, is really just a study of the Black man and how they can criminalize him, and from his inception, from the school to prison pipeline to his incarceration to his next generation, and how we keep that all going. And I'm here to break that cycle.
I love to see it. By the way,
Yeah, we're gonna do it together, man. We're gonna get to it.
because I feel like it's encouraging other people to take more of an active role in the history of our country and what will become the history of our country. Uh,
Indeed. The
tell me,
revolution is here. We in it.
my mom said it will be televised.
Yeah, it's televised on every phone screen.
Right.
It's here, man. It's different.
Tell me, when you look around. I mean, I know that you were in Minnesota. Um, when you look around, do you see any positivity? Do you see
Oh,
any
absolutely, man.
hope? What
I
what
have
what?
hope. I have so much hope. Um, Being on 38th Street, where George Floyd's life was tragically stolen from him, I saw tears, I saw flowers, I saw prayers, people holding each other of all races, of all demographics. It was children there, getting some clarity, some understanding. in that community came together in a strong way. I mean, I know what we've seen in the media and the burning of the precinct, but I'm talking specifically in that community right there on 38th Street. Man, they came together. They prayed from all different spiritualities. The Muslim community came out, the Christian community came out, the city councilmen came out. They were all there in that community, standing firm. There was disappointment in law enforcement, 100%, but there was not a disappointment in that community. That community knew what they stood for. There were people as they were. It was amazing to see. I saw people with brooms and dustpans cleaning up the riots from the night before, taking care of the flowers at the memorial. And just to see that just showed that there's hope in humanity.
Yeah. A strength.
Strength, indeed.
You know, a strength.
Yeah.
How do you, and again, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm trying to be responsible. How do you, as a young Black man in this country, go to sleep, and then when you wake up, decide to get out of the bed, to go to work, to say, do it, and share the things that propel us forward? How do you muster the energy required?
It's difficult to sleep at night. I mean, it's so heavy on my spirit that, just like I'm pretty sure you experience the same thing, it feels like a bad dream. But it shows that we have so much to do, because as a parent, as someone who is a fixture in our community, I'm not going to get everything right. I'm not going to say everything right. I'm going to operate out of emotion and passion at times. But I'm doing something. I'm focused, I'm driven. And like I said, I'm ready to put my life on the line in every type of way for my community, for my people, for our voices to be heard and for change to occur.
There are so many primary votes happening in states across the country, and today is the blackout on social media. If there was a clipping out of this interview to be posted somewhere, how would you be urging people to make sure that their voice is heard today?
Utilize your voice. Local government, your community is probably the most important thing. I know we get caught up in what the media perpetuates, but understand the policies in your neighborhood. Hold your law enforcement accountable in your neighborhood. Make phone calls. As we stay safe during this pandemic, utilize your social media, even though we're currently, if you support the blackout, please do. But instead of just protesting, I would say promote positivity within your community and the change that you want to see occur.